Good afternoon guys, James here from Sunseeker Southampton down in a very sunny Sunseeker shipyard in Poole, and today I'm really excited because we are on the Predator 65. This is boat 418, which is the first of the 65 series. Been lucky enough to be out doing some secret sea trials with this one over the last few weeks, and finally time that we can actually show you around. So it's been an official factory launch of the boat that's taken over a little bit before us today, and here we are behind me in the water. Here she is. One of the most eagerly awaited boats for us in recent years. This builds on the success of the 65 sport yacht, and I have to say she is an absolute corker out at sea. I was lucky enough to be driving the sport yacht alongside her the other day in the film shoot, and I have to say, watching her thrashing through the water at 34 knots, it's absolutely majestic. Very, very striking look with that signature hull band window with the stainless steel detailing and what have you. Just as we walk around the pontoon here, try and take her in from all the different angles. There's obviously going to be lots of coverage of this online over the coming weeks, as you see some really cool videos of what we've been up to out and about on the water. But today, just an opportunity to have a look round up close and personal, see what she's all about. The actual boat itself, apart from the sky helm up top, is pretty much identical to the sport yacht. Again, lots of different configurations to really make each owner's boat individual to them. This one particularly finished in the white gel coat with a black boot top stripe, and then we got that lovely big moody black roof system. It blends the roof and the glass windows on the side into one almost seamless panel when you stand back and see the boat from afar. Really gives it an aggressive look, very much akin to the big brother of the hugely successful 60 Evo. So coming around here behind, obviously you can see a different angle without that sky helm up top, again with all the nav kit painted up there in LSA jet black as well. It is a super cool boat. As we mentioned on the sport yacht in a recent tour, you can reach all the cleats down the side decks there off the pontoon, so it is a practical boat as much as it is a hugely sexy boat. Storage arrangement for toys. In the aft end here is the garage for a 345 Williams, and then we've got a platform on the back here capable of taking a three-seater Sea-Doo type jet ski. Let's head on, see what she's all about. So as we come up into the cockpit, you can see we've moved the battery switches to a slightly different location than on the sport yacht, and we'll go up forward first so you can see what the exterior deck is all about. You can see this lovely glass window here. It runs all the way from the deck head down here all the way up. If I stand back with the camera here, you can see just how big that window is, and we'll notice that when we go inside how much light it lets in. And if you've seen a recent tour I've done on Twilight on the 65 sport yacht, there's loads of lighting running down the decks here. So big social seating area with a sunbed. There's a couple more cushions that are just coming back from the trimmers to go in here. This particular boat is actually sold already to a lucky new owner, so she'll be off departing to warmer waters in the not too distant future. You can see this clever arrangement here with the sort of step over arrangement into this centre area. Great if you've got kids, just to keep an eye on them when you're up and running at sort of 10 knots down the harbour and what have you. And you can see the little inlaid detail. Have to excuse the wind noise if you're getting that in the microphone. It is rather blowy down here in Poole today, but you can see when I referred earlier to that roof blending into one panel, just how well that works when you paint the top sides in the black to match the roof itself. Very James Bond-esque this boat, I have to say. Very moody standing back. It's an absolute cracker. I love the look, and having seen it perform, the way it banks over in turns is something else. Very different to lots of the other boats I've driven before. So as with the 65 sport yachts, there are a number of configurations when you come up on the port side of the boat here, whether you take this optional seating arrangement to give a much bigger U-shaped seating area here in the cockpit, or whether you go with the standard arrangement where you can effectively walk in and you just have a centerline island seat across the back. Sun pad arrangement doesn't change irrespective of which configuration you have in the cockpit itself. And up above, this is a electric sun blind which comes out on the horizontal plane to give protection over the back here. Ensign staff goes here. So I'm just going to pop the garage open, you can see what that's like inside. So here's the garage just lifting up to reveal where the toy storage is in the back. You can see those fluted sections of fiberglass there, just extra detail. On the back there's plenty of room in the middle there to put a nice illuminated name when you wish. So that's in the fully up position. If we come down here now, you can see where the toy store is. So say tender on this side, we've got the Williams tender recovery system in there. Platform on these actually slides down around 45 degrees rather than coming away and down like a classic hydraulic high-low platform, and as such there isn't room for a stern thruster down the back here, but with the joystick control, honestly not required. There is a joystick docking video on my channel recently on a sport yacht to show how that system works. And of course down this side we've then got loads of room, 4 meters of space pretty much, to get a selection of paddle boards, sea bobs, fast chargers and what have you. So plenty of space to store it all away. We could do a mesh panel in here so that once everything's stashed away there in the evenings, if you've got the top open for any reason, it isn't unsightly for those walking along the quayside. Of course, some people quite like to see what's going on in the toy stores themselves. Up top here, so we've got that soaker shower in the roof, some changing RGB colour lights up top there, which actually match in with some of the other lighting around the boat, really moving into the realms of multi-mood lighting with the Lumishore control hub that works through the plotters, what have you. And you can see over there, just to finish off before we shut this back down, the handrails with the platform submersed. There are actually some deck sockets here and there's some steps hidden under here, and I'm going to cut a picture and show how that works, and it allows access in from the water, make life a lot easier to get now. So we're just going to drop that back down. There's friends from the RNLI over there just coming in from training. So we drop this back down and we shall continue with our tour. So back here in the cockpit we have a Mediterranean Platinum pack, which includes things like the stern docking winches here. We've got an additional set of lower cleats there for doing our transverse spring lines, of course coming off the cleats and the bollards itself. We've got our little bins for tailing off the lines, little magnet on those to stop them flapping around. Sockets in the deck here you'll see for the support when the sun awning is out to give it rigidity, and these lovely heavy duty transom gates. Just spin this round, shut that, you can see how solid that feels on there with that beautiful inlaid Sunseeker stainless detailing. One of the first things you see when you step up onto the boat, so it's all the little detail that makes such a difference. In terms of decor itself, so this one's obviously very masculine finished, lots of greys and dark hues of graphite and black and what have you. We've got the inlaid shark fin type detailing with the piping on the cushions, and then we've got the two-tone with the two different styles of Silvertex here. I have to say I love it. This is a really cool, very modern look. There's LED lighting underneath here and the strip lighting up in the roof with those contrast panels underneath there. I say each look very much unique to the boat, so we can do something very different if you wish. Across here on the port side, with this one obviously electing to take the fixed U-shaped seating, we've got the fixed pedestal leg with this lovely big opening teak cockpit table. There's still plenty of room here for walking around the deck, and put a couple of director's chairs in as required. Across here on the starboard side, you can now see the access down into the crew space. Obviously, typically at this size, this is very much an owner-operator boat, so it's more used as a storeroom. But if you want to go off and do perhaps a few days away in Formentera or somewhere like that, you've got the space for an ad hoc captain to join you. There's a loo under here, and you can see the sink tucked down that side. I often get asked what this is actually like in real life, so just to demonstrate the space itself, I'm just going to climb down the ladder. So that I can show you what we've got. So actually down here, just under 6 foot myself, got plenty of room around us. We've got opening port light here on the port side of the boat, reading lights, we've got smoke alarm system up the top there. We've got a panel for our gyro control. Storage under here. And we talk on some of the other videos about access for washing machines and what have you. So we've got space to put laundry facilities in here. We can put extra refrigeration in here. You can see the loo tucked under there. Yes, it's compact. I know we often hear people making comments about, oh, it should be more space given over to the crew, but the crew's here to do a professional job, and they're quite satisfied that the space here is good enough to make do, as obviously the owner is the one that's typically bought the boat and is paying the bills. So it's always a compromise between how much space you can give them versus whether the guest accommodation suffers as a result. So we're just going to head back up the ladder here and we carry on with our tour. So you'll see I've just opened up the patio doors, which stack back here on the starboard side. Really solid. They're very nice stainless steel. You can see big handles, feels very much like a little ship. So they stack back to give you this lovely big open centre walk through, but we've also got now on this side the drop down window arrangement. See that lowering down into the deck here. Feel free to spec yours with the alarm buzzer removed, as that would drive me utterly nuts. But I suppose it does give you the ability to know when your kids are messing with all the buttons on board. So that drops all the way down into the deck there. Little bar top. Porcelain finish on the top here. This is a really nice stone actually, and you can see how that now blends the outside seating area there. Spin us round and you can see how you would use that galley for entertaining. Everything on that one area working really well in harmony together. So as we come inside, over on the starboard as always we have this large sideboard unit where we've got the option to do different things depending on a client's requirements. This particular one geared up with a fridge and a freezer. There's an option to do a wine cooler in there, we can do an ice maker in there, so very much open to an owner's personal needs. Across on this side, so this is our glasses store, Dartington crystal. We've got a pan drawer in the bottom here beneath convection microwave oven. And then we've got the 4-burner top with the extractor fan above. These are finished in a beautiful satin painted gunmetal, and you can see the crockery set, obligatory to all Sunseekers. Up top there, nice big single bowl sink. We've got the dishwasher and a storage bin in that one. Say compact galley, but it does everything it needs to. Then we come forward into the saloon sort of deck relaxation area. So we've got TV up in the high-low box there over on the starboard side, with some seating in front of it, and then over here on the port side this lovely big U-shaped seating, electric up and down tabletop, and we've got the big opening top, again finished in that lovely satin grey there. I'll just open it up so you can see how that works for dining. Just sitting down here to show just the expanse of glass and space around us. I mean, this ceiling must be, I would say, a good 6 feet above my head here, where we've got the absolutely giant glass sunroof. It's got a heavy UV tint on the glass itself to keep the heat out when the boat's down in the warm Mediterranean sunshine, but it's that beautiful exposed weave, high gloss lacquer, carbon fibre finish, keeps the weight down as well, so it's as much aesthetics as it is from a performance point of view why we choose to use carbon. It's also a lot more rigid, so we get a lot fewer problems with them getting stuck in the warmer climates when it swells. So over on the starboard side here, you can very much imagine still having a conversation with the captain when you're up and running, and you've got these beautiful two helm and co-pilot seats. Again, on this particular one, finished in that black with the red accent, and then of course on the back of these they have those detailed stripes. Very, very nice. Helm itself, so you'll often see these finished in a piano black finish, or with that beautiful carbon as we have on this particular boat. And of course, with all the typical mod cons that you come to see with the Sunseeker, you've got the iPad mini there for the AV system, our CM8 system here for the various systems on board, and then Garmin's glass bridge screens integrated into the Volvo control system. Boat's running Volvo's IPS 1350s on pods, which are the D13 1000 horsepower engines. Boat gets on for around 34 knots and absolutely effortless. Being IPS, they're very, very level out of the hole when you bury the throttles. Can throw the boat around, it loses very little speed in the turns. It's an absolutely phenomenal piece of kit to drive, and you can see how everything's wrapping around you here at the helm. So you see the two little round displays here. Just pop those up and you can see how we can flick through the various different configuration screens here. It's all user face customizable, much the same as the two displays up top here, which I've actually got a jog dial down here to control what's going on there, so I don't need to even get out of the helm when we're up and running. We've got a tilt helm so we can get the wheel in a nice comfortable position. See, of course, our nice little centered badge there. Bow thruster over here, we obviously mentioned earlier there isn't the space to put a stern thruster on that sliding transom arrangement, but honestly, having driven the boat, it doesn't need it at all. The joystick and controls themselves all sitting to hand down here, so very much within reach without having to get out of the chair at all. DSC radio, of course, as well for coming and going and out of port and communication between boats. Very, very nice space. We've got an electric helm window. Just drop this down next to us here on the starboard side. You can just imagine coming in docking, we have got pretty much panoramic view there all the way from the stern up to the bow. Makes docking very straightforward, and we'll just pop the roof open above us and just get a feel for how much light this is going to let in as it opens up. The benefit of a big glass roof like this is such that you can open it part of the way or all of the way, so you've got the option to let a little bit of air in for ventilation when you need it, but equally on the not so nice days, shut it in seconds and you're back into a fully deck saloon enclosed space where you can put your heating on or your aircon if you're in a hot climate. Boat works very much in both northern and summer hemispheres. So that goes pretty much all the way back. It's just coming to the end of its travel there. If I just come back here, you'll be able to see just how big that expanse is. It's an absolutely vast space. Dare I say, we're even going to run down the side deck here just to show you what she's like from outside. So back we come, and let's continue our tour. So worth noting things like we've got some surround sound speakers up in the top here. You see lots of little detailed lights running around the windscreen frame there, and we've got the strip lights up in the ceiling here. It's all user dimmable at night, to create a softer ambience when required. And the wood itself on this particular boat finished in this lovely satin eucalyptus. You've got beautiful graining through it there. You can see it running through the top as well. Works really well. So let's head on down and we'll see what the guest accommodation's like. This particular one is configured with the Grand Master layout in the master itself. Again, as with the 65 sport yachts, we've got lots of glass and very, very clever lighting. So we're 3 cabins configured as she is currently. And every cabin has a real wow. There's a lot of detail in these. You can see the inlaid pads there for wireless charging. We've got the stainless steel inlays here, even tucked down under the door here. And up on the headboard, everywhere you look, the more you get on these, you just take in the level of detail that our design team's gone into. Of course, completely user customizable, so you can turn this into a very different feeling boat if you want to go with the light woods and light panels and different colour tones on the LED lighting and what have you. It's very much a personal preference for each individual owner. See that dressing vanity station there. Wardrobe here on the port side. These are all lift up. Locker boxes under the decks above. We've got a emergency escape hatch up there. Lovely stainless steel inlays on the doors here. Ensuite itself, so we've got the shower there in the aft section. Lovely stone, beautiful graining on the tops themselves. Electric heated towel rails up on the wall there. And again, storage behind the mirror there. We've got more in the cupboards below and lots of inlaid lighting. Again, just gives the boat a real wow factor when you're walking around. So this is the second guest cabin, configured with 2 single beds, as you see here. AV throughout the boat, so we've got TVs in all of the cabins. And tucked behind the door here, this cabin does actually have its own ensuite compartment, so we've got the soaker shower up in the roof there. The same finish throughout all areas. So come across the hallway, this actually doubles up as a day head for guests on board, and much the same as what we've just seen in the other bathrooms. You see, works really well. Lift upstairs. Difficult to do one-handed, but there's a little bit of storage. As always with these, it's important to pack it in wherever you can. So we've got space for a vacuum cleaner and what have you in there. Often get asked what's under these floor traps. So as you can see, nice edged panels, and you can see a black waste tank under here. It's all illuminated under the floors, so very easy from a maintenance point of view to understand what's going on down there without the need necessarily for a torch. And again, controls down for various blower systems and pipe work runs and what have you for servicing. And then we come through to the Grand Master itself. So upgrade on the carpet here. It's beautiful, beautiful colour palette in this. Some lights on, you'll be able to understand how this works. So we've obviously covered on the channel before a number of different 65s and the configurations, but this particular setup with the Grand Master gives the stool with the vanity area come workstation, and then we've got some storage shelves and cupboards and what have you up top there. Great place if you're working from the boat, as more and more owners are doing these days. And over on this side, this particular one you can see is just kitted out with storage, as effectively it's being used more as an office, but this could always be used for washing machine or additional refrigeration as required. So we come aft into the master itself, and what a master it is. So we have notice a completely flat floor, completely flat ceiling, and it's very, very quiet in here. See that water slapping on the hull, kept to a minimum in the midships part of the boat. So we have 2 wardrobes over here on the port side, full length hanging. Standard configuration with the 2 seats and the table. There's of course options to put a sofa or additional storage in this side. We've got bedside drawers, lovely little inlaid coins and phones and the general paraphernalia emptied out of your pockets, and you've got this lovely, again, backdrop headboard arrangement with the greys and the illuminated panels there. It's very, very, very moody. Huge TV up on the wall there, and there's a AV system with speakers tucked up in the ceilings in the corners there. Full Sonos zones in each of the areas throughout the boat. So we come through, this is of course your master bathroom, and much the same as all the other areas we've covered already. It's got beautiful finishes, very, very nicely done indeed, of course with the electric rail up top there. Last but no means least, hidden behind the door here, this is the second wardrobe that I alluded to earlier. Not quite full height hanging in this one, as we've got some systems in the bottom there, but you do have some cupboards that run all the way along this side, and again some space underneath the bedside unit there. 1.87 metre wide bed, so it's a lovely big place to crash out at night. And of course these lights are dimmed down at the moment, but you can brighten everything up in here when required. Picture frame lighting as well, you can see gentle LED there around the frame. A stunning, stunning boat, I have to say. Really, really excited to have been out on this one over the last couple of weeks as we finish the testing. And last but no means least, we will just have a look around the engine bay. So obviously accessed off this side of the boat, which does mean with this U-shaped seating configuration, a quick dash down onto the platform or climb over the seat in an emergency. And we pop the handle here and up comes the door. So we've got a big ladder to climb down here, pretty much vertical. I had a comment on a 65 Sport Yacht the other day saying that they felt it was quite tight in here, and I have to say from the working perspective, actually whilst you're down here it's absolutely fine. Modern engines don't require a lot of checks and what have you. They are very much computerized and they'll tell you when they're not having a good time. So apart from water strainers and oils and what have you, they're very much pretty much fit and forget these days in between main services. So we just have a look round to try and explain a bit more about things that an owner might want to get access to. So we've got the main breaker panel here. You can see everything's individually labelled on breaker panels, perhaps access onto the battery charger if you're showing a fault. Forward here we've got the gyro stabilizer in here, and you'll notice generator up the top. So this is 21 kilowatt generator, plenty of power to run all the systems on the boat. Panels all drop out the side, it's in a soundproof box, so easy to get to. This is a fuel filter for the generator to prime it up after a service. We've got aircon handling units over here on the forward bulkhead, where there'll be some strainers to look at. Coming aft, these are our fuel filters for the engines, so you don't even need to go down between the engines. It's all here at the bottom of the ladder. Again, more breaker boxes here with loads of switches and what have you. Battery switches are all digitally switched from upstairs, but you've got some manual overrides in here if required, and you can see access through to the pods there. Day to day as an owner, there isn't really anything that needs to do in the back here. This is very much really a service engineer's domain when required. But you can see the giant size of the exhaust system and the pods themselves stuck out beneath the boat. There's a video on the channel recently from manoeuvring one of these as the Sport Yacht derivative, which does actually cover what the boat looks like when she's out of the water. So if we come around here, obviously you'll notice this big space in the deck above us is the underfloor of the garage, and there is actually a panel in here if we ever needed to, where you can actually take that panel out and you get direct access on top of the engines if there was more serious surgery required. But if we come around the front of the engines here, you can see the water strainers in the middle here, and the dipsticks you can see handed on both engines into the middle here. So serviceability wise, very straightforward. These are your Aircon strainers here. It's a generator strainer. I personally wouldn't want to give any more space over it in this area to machinery. Yes, I agree, on large yachts where you may be running an engineer and what have you, it's nice for them to have more working room, but at this owner operated size it really isn't required. And you'll see as I'm sat down here, say still got loads of room in here. It's very much a workable proposition. We can come around the other side of the engine here, and we've got things like pumps for washdown systems, hot water tank, passerelle control and what have you. Passerelle sat in the box up the top there. We've got things like the fire flaps on the ventilators here, so in the event you do want to run the boat commercially, there's lots of kit already installed on the boat to keep it ready to put into commercial charter with a minimum of fuss. So just work our way back round and we'll head up the ladder, just finish off on the outside. So we drop that back down. So that's us done. This particular boat, as you see her, she was about £2.525 million ex-tax, as you see her. They start at about £2,065,000, so nice spec, very typical sort of med with all the common options and the AV and the navigation and what have you. So I'd say apart from a tender safety kit and a few other small bits and pieces, she is pretty much what I would call a typical on the water price. So I hope you've enjoyed that one with us today. So exciting to bring a new model out always to the market, and can't wait to get into the build of these with clients in the 22 season and beyond. If you'd like to know more about her, of course, or anything else in the range, my email is james@sunseekersouthampton.com, or mobile is +44 7747 686 587. Hope you've enjoyed the walk around today with us, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.